Einen wunderschönen guten Morgen. Herzlich willkommen bei Bittel TV einfach anders. Wir haben den 10. Juli 2025, es ist 9:06 Uhr und heute wird das Interview in Englisch sein. Ich werde jetzt dann auf Englisch switchen. Wir werden uns überlegen, ob wir das dann übersetzen, aber der Herr, der heute bei mir ist, da freue ich mich sehr, direkt aus Israel, ist natürlich der deutschen Sprache nicht mächtig und deshalb werden wir das Gespräch auf Englisch führen, so gut es geht. Mascha wird mir dabei helfen. Ihr kennt Mascha Orel schon und die andere Person werden wir gleich vorstellen. So we're gonna switch now in English. I'm really pleased to introduce you these both people here and I would say wonderful good morning together.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time. And I would say, if Masha don't mind, just to try to introduce our guests directly from Israel, that would be really great.
Here, if you don't mind, I would like to briefly tell how we two met, because it says something about you, and then you can maybe add some data if you would like to. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. I have to start with a rather sad memory. Clemens Arrai took his life, and this is when we wrote an open letter saying that this is the result of the misuse of the anti-Semitism cudgel. And Yair got in touch. I don't know, Yair might want to say how he found this letter. I don't remember this. Yair got in touch and said, I want my name under this letter. And I was happy, of course, to invite him. And sometime later, I connected him with Andrea Drescher, Austrian reporter who writes for TKP, and she did an interview with Yair. I just would like to quote one sentence Yair said in this interview because it positions him, it makes clear how he is dealing with the topic, which is also so important, so dear to my heart. He said, looking back at all of this propaganda and brainwash in Israel, I can understand the Germans back then and forgive them. So I think this sentence, this statement should have been quoted. Thank you, Yair, to you.
Yeah, thank you very much for this introduction. You want to add something to this?
Yes, sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Roger, for bringing me here. I'm going to say a few words, first of all, about how I started being aware of everything. It started in Corona, during the COVID-19 scandal. And I became more and more aware of what's going on and of the propaganda. And I was fighting it. I'm also a lawyer. We were going to the streets, protesting. I know there was the same in Germany, many people. And I was also in touch with a few friends from Germany, even before Masha. I had a few friends here and there. And they told me, and I saw in the alternative media and on social media, that they were calling the people who were protesting against the COVID restrictions and against this thing, they were calling them right-wing extremists and even neo-Nazis and things. And I thought to myself, what's going on? We're protesting the same thing here. And just because they put some Jewish man in Pfizer and gave him the title of CEO, then suddenly it's become a Jews against anti-Semitic thing. It's not like this at all. This isn't the point. We're talking about globalist oppressors that are oppressing all of humanity. They're oppressing us in our country. They're oppressing you in your country. What does this have to do with all of this anti-Semitism, Jewish and non-Jewish bullshit? And then I started being more in touch with people also in Germany and in other places. And I heard about Rainer Fulmich and got connected with the group. There was a group in Israel that was cooperating with him. And I was also in touch with them. And I think what Rainer did, and I'm guessing you both know who I'm talking about, right? I know that Masha is aware of it, Roger also.
Yes.
So So what Rainer did, I watched the grand jury, and he brought it all really to the point, which is probably why he's in prison now, right? Because he didn't only talk about the things that people usually talk. He didn't just talk about money. He didn't just talk about all these interests, of political interest and power. He got down to the point of Nazi and eugenics ideology, which is what I believe is at the heart of it. Eugenics didn't start in Germany. It existed in the US, it existed in many other countries before the Nazis came to power. And these were the people who gave the Nazis the money and the power that they needed to do what they did. And these people have been around for a long time. And they are still trying to oppress humanity, and they are still trying to minimize and mime and kill and do many, many terrible things to most of the common people out of their crazy ideology, thinking that they are better than everyone else, thinking that they can oppress for their own benefit. And this is what we're dealing with. We need to understand. You see, I'm a person of faith. Okay, I'm a believe in God. I'm a Hebrew and I'm a Jew, and I believe in the God of Israel. And I believe that these people are the enemies of humanity and the enemies of the people of Israel from the beginning, from the times of the Bible. These are the same. It's continuing along the generations. They're being hiding their actions and their conspiracies, but it's the same sort of ideology that's been going on for a long time. And you can say that they are a type of devil worshippers. This is really how I see this thing. And I think all of the people all over the countries that understand this, we need to rise above all these ways that they're trying to separate us and really start working together against these enemies of humanity.
This was really nice summary of how you see it, your point of view. For me, not being in Israel, so I have to be honest, I know that I don't know at all, because there are so many reports in the media. Maybe it's true, it's not true, the most of them is fake. How can we maybe summarize the situation at the moment in Israel? Because there's Netanyahu, they are saying it's a bad guy, then is the Gaza stuff. That's so difficult to understand what's really going on. Have you some impression? What is your point of view of this situation at the moment?
Okay, so I'll tell you my point of view. It's based on what I just said before. Okay, it's based on my general understanding of what's going on in the world generally, and in Israel as part of it. So basically, what a lot of people in Israel have come to understand since COVID, since Corona, since people started waking up, is that this isn't really our state. It's not the state of the people of Israel. Okay, this government and this state doesn't represent the people of Israel. This is a controlled government by foreign powers and by agents that have filtered into the system in Israel from the beginning. Again, you have to remember that our state, the desire of the people to have independence was genuine and authentic. But the way that the institutions and organizations were established was through organizations and governments from outside, right? The British were here a second before, steering everything up, okay, steering things with the Arabs, steering things with us, having one hand on this side, one hand on this side. And many organizations and powers were involved, and money that came in from outside. And these people were the people who established the organizations of the state. And those organizations are not for our people, and they don't represent our people. And many understand this now. But the problem is they are still steering the government, and they are also, mostly important, steering the mindset of the majority that are still being brainwashed. You have to understand that the media controls the mindset of the people here, just like it did everywhere during COVID. Just like the vast majority of the people went and put into themselves poison and into their children and into their parents because they were brainwashed. In the same way, they are able to get most of the people here to be brainwashed about other things. For example, the war with the Palestinians. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, we don't have a conflict with the Arabs and we don't have a conflict with the Muslims. We have a problem that can be solved with the specific people who live in this piece of land that is also our historical homeland, and it can be resolved. And there is no need for all this bloodshed. But they are driving the situation to a place where both sides believe that bloodshed is the only option. And they're creating war, just like they're creating disease. Okay, these people, like I said, are the enemies of humanity, and they are behind the industry of war and the industry of disease. This is how I see the situation.
Wow, also this is really crazy. Do you hear so many stories? Masha, we have talked a lot about Israel, and you told me all the time we have to go deeper because the people they are suffering. The politicians are not the best we have at all. And how you see yourself, because you're also involved in this topic. Can you say a few words about that? Maybe we can talk about this.
Yeah, and I'm actually really interested in your view, Yair. I'm not insider, by far not the way you are, although I've got my family there. Still, I'm not the insider, it's just an opinion. And what I used to say to Roger all the time, that perhaps 80 to 90% of what we see, of what we believe to know, is what we are supposed to see and to know. This is a psyop, a psychological operation. This is information warfare. And my perception that even in the opposition bubble, the information about what is going on in Gaza and Israel, between Israel and Gaza, is very one-sided. So, for example, my daughter told to me the story of the family Bieber. Just correct me. I might have mixed up the name. So this is a story of hostages, a woman with small, really young children. The one was a baby who were murdered. And this is not about revenge to me. It's about telling both stories. So what I see is that a half a story is told, and altogether, we all are victims of emotional manipulation. Big deal. I don't say that this war is a fake, not at all. God forbid, people are dying. But the way how the information is submitted to us, washed in a way, I don't think it's quite honest. And I think the purpose behind is, as I said, an emotional manipulation. It's important to me to use this occasion to say that those who control us emotionally control us.
Absolutely.
So that's why it's important to me to know what you think here.
So first of all, I really agree with what you're saying. And like I said, the media and the control of the mind of the people is at the essence of all of this, just like it was during COVID. Because at the end of the day, if you control what the people know, then you control everything. And what they're doing with the war is that they're, like you said, they're separating the people purposefully. Okay, I'll give you an example. The media, the mainstream media in Israel, they don't show even half or a quarter or anything close to what they're showing everyone outside about the war in Gaza. So the regular average Israeli, even if he's very angry at what happened on the October 7th, he doesn't understand how much destruction and death the army is causing in Gaza right now. They don't know this. And the media could show them, like the media knew exactly what to tell them to get them to go and get the shot of the COVID. If they wanted to, they could get them to be very, very upset about what's happening in Gaza and manipulate their emotions like they did back then. They can show them all the really hard photos and stuff, they're showing everyone outside, but they're not doing this. And on the other hand, outside they're showing a lot of this, yeah, and they're not telling you the basic situation of the people in Israel. Okay, they tell you, oh, there were hostages or like this, but here we're being constantly emotionally manipulated about all of these horrors. Constantly. You won't believe, you can't understand, and only if you lived here since October 7, you would understand what the media is taking people through. I refuse to watch all of these things. I refuse to go into this death tunnel and look constantly at blood and rape and think about all these things, because I know what it does to my mind. But all of these people go through it because they turn on the television in the evening like everyone does, and they watch the news, okay? So everyone's being manipulated, each to their side, and the media is controlled by these same people who are propagating these wars, okay? And what is going on, I just have to say that for me, it's even bigger than that, because like I said, war and the industry of war is controlled. And therefore, for me and for many people now, we understand that October 7th was treason in a way, okay? It was involving the same people and the same agents that are within Israeli systems. They were also involved in this. And we already know because there have been too many coincidences to allow what happened to happen. And I have friends, I know people who used to be in the army, who used to guard the fence. And they told me, a cat doesn't go near the fence. But along the time, these agents within our system were able to make it so that people can come all the way to the fence, take the fence down without anything happening, for 8 hours, scatter around and commit all this terrible murder and things that they did. And nothing happens for 8 hours. This is, and there's too many coincidences that are supposedly, now people are saying, oh, it was negligence. It was, they weren't doing their job properly. No, we understand that this was planned and there was treason. And we know that there are people inside of Israel that are cooperating with the powers who wanted October 7th to happen. And I'm saying they wanted October 7th to happen because they wanted what's happening in Gaza to happen. And they were manipulating the Israeli public to be accepting of this type of war because they suffered something that they feel like, okay, now we have no choice. This is all being manipulated, like all wars, like all of these COVID things. You have to understand it's all connected. This is how I see it.
So, the October 7th, so it's a key moment. So you are saying that this is like kind of stage situation, and then I guess also you're gonna see in the TV a lot of pictures, a lot of video about this situation. The people in Israel say, oh, that's not good, that's horrible, we have to do something. Then the president say, yeah, for sure we have to do, and Israel, the people from Israel say, oh, good job, go for it. And then you don't see the horrible picture in Gaza on the TV, and everything is fine for the average people in Israel.
Yeah, they know there's a war, they know people are dying. But first of all, they're not showing the real emotional stuff
Yes.
that I see they're showing everywhere else in the world. They're telling them a few people died, we had to kill someone, even if there were some civilians, but the Hamas people were hiding within them, so we had no choice but to kill the civilians. We don't want to kill civilians. They're telling them all of this, and they say, okay, it's a war. It's a war, people die, we have to do this war. Look at what they did of October 7th. Because October 7th was something that made even a lot of regularly peace-minded people say, you know what, we have no choice. These people want to rape and kill us all. We have to do something, okay? This is something many Israelis went through after the 7th of October. And I'm saying this was planned.
That's crazy. When you say this is planned, where is behind the whole operation? This is very interesting. What is your opinion about this?
So like I said before, and like someone who watched all of Rainer Fulmig's stuff understand, there is a group of people that are really against humanity, okay? Their ideology, their faith, you can say almost, is very, very evil, okay? And these people are not in any specific land or any specific people. They are infiltrating everyone. Okay, and the places where you can mostly find them are within the secret power rings, including the secret societies and the secret intelligence systems in all of the West. Okay, they are definitely in the CIA, and we also know that the CIA recruited Nazis after the war, and they are definitely also in the MI5 in England, and they're also probably in the Mossad. People know this in the Mossad or in the Shin Bet. You know, I'm not sure how it works, but they're definitely in the Israeli intelligence community as well. And these are the people that are orchestrating these wars. Okay, whenever they need to do something in Israel, they use the people in Israel. They need to do something in America, they use the people in America. It's a ring and a network of people that are operating against humanity. This is what I believe.
So that means if people from Gaza and people from Israel could talk together in a normal way, after 1 hour or 2 hours, everybody will say it's incredible, we have to stop this.
Look, there are already things like this. Yeah, we have made through internet and through these things some connections. I've seen videos of friends who have friends in Gaza. You know, I saw this one person, really sweet guy, sitting with his tent and many kids behind them, talking in Hebrew, because many of them also know Hebrew because they used to work here, and saying, look what's going on here. Look, we're living in this tent, but the kids are happy. And these people are people that we know we can have peace with if the government just moves aside. And of course, there are extremists, but let the extremists deal with each other. Why do all the peaceful people have to go through the government if we can just meet the people of Gaza by ourselves? After the October 7, I thought something. I'll tell you this now because I never said it to anyone, and I want to say it here. Because I'm a person of faith, because I believe in God, and because I know most of the people in Gaza are also people of faith through Islam. And in the end of the day, Islam and Judaism are very close. I don't know if you know this. Some people say they are closer than Judaism and Christianity for many different reasons. But anyway, what I'm saying is I want to go to Gaza. Okay, I have no connection to the government, no connection to the intelligence in Israel, not even no connection to the army for many years. After I finished my service, I have no connection to them. I'm not doing reserve also. I want to go into Gaza and have a flag saying in Arabic, La ilaha illa Allah, and one in Hebrew that says En od milvado. These two sentences, they say the same thing. Okay? And I want to come and talk to them in the name of peace between the children of Abraham. I don't want to talk about politics. I have no connection to the government. I want to talk to the people. And I'm not afraid to go. If I go with these flags, I don't think anyone will shoot me, not even Hamas. If they believe in Allah, they're not going to shoot someone that comes like this. So this is my offer to the world. I want to go to Gaza like this, and I don't want any protection. I'm not afraid.
Excuse me, Roger, excuse me, Yair. I'm in doubt. Maybe it's a kind of provocative, but I'm still going to ask it. Are you sure you would survive this kind of visit? And before your response, Golda Meir said back then, there is no peace between Israel and Arabs, or between Jews and Arabs, not sure, as long the Arabs hate our children more than they love their own ones. It's not from me, it's from Golda Meir. I just want your opinion. You know, these are quite palpable words.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't trust the words of Golda Meir. She was involved with all of these people, and I don't know what she was thinking. Maybe she was brainwashed. Maybe she was part of these things. Anyway, what I know is that the people in Gaza, even even the most extreme Muslims, okay, if I come to them like this, you know, I don't have anyone, no one knows me, then of course they don't. Maybe they say, oh, he's a Jew, he's an Israeli, let's shoot him. But if this becomes a world affair, if Muslims all over the world know that I'm going in with the flag saying La ilaha illa Allah, okay, there is no other God but Allah. They know that I'm coming in the name of faith in Allah, of faith in God, also on their side, also on the Jewish side. I don't think that a Muslim, a real Muslim, will shoot me when I'm saying I have no connection to the government in Israel, I have no connection to the army, I'm coming as a person of faith to talk to you in the name of peace in the house of Abraham. I really don't believe they will shoot me. If they know that many people know about this, if they know what the consequences will be from the religious perspective as well, I don't think they will shoot me. I really believe this.
So
I,
this is one question. This is really interesting, but I guess I have to say right to Masha, because I don't believe that if Hamas exists, and Hamas exists for sure, and I guess maybe you know better than me for sure, who has founded Hamas? Who has given the money to these people that they can do something? And I'm sure this kind of people, there are not so many, they are full of hate and maybe are not represent any religion, whatever. And that's the reason why I don't believe that you could survive this.
Okay.
I
can
wouldn't
accept
want
what
you
you're
to go,
saying.
Yair. I wouldn't want you to go.
That's okay.
Although,
My mother also doesn't want me to go. But I'm telling you that I'm willing to go. And if I was given the chance, I will go. This is what I'm saying.
But this kind of people, if they're really paid from outside, whatever, there are people saying, but I cannot prove it, it's paid from the foundation from Nazi, early stage, even from Germany or USA. Let's say that's true. Why should they talk to you? Because this would make sense to have peace, but they don't want to have peace.
Right. Right. But this is the thing that what I'm saying, this is a kind of catch, okay? Because their power comes from supposedly representing Islam. I don't think they represent Islam, but they claim to. So they're going to be in a catch, okay? If this is done to the eyes of the world, okay? I'm imagining if there's online live streaming to everywhere, okay? And also Muslims everywhere, and also Arabs in the whole Arab world. And they see me coming with these flags in the name of peace. Islam is named after salam, after peace, okay? And I'm saying I'm not connected to any of these people that are doing everything they've done to you. I'm coming here to talk to you as a child of Abraham. If they do something to me in this, they're going against the basic rules of Islam, and they will have to suffer the consequences. And maybe it will cost my life, but it will also break down their power over their people. And I'm willing to take this risk, and I don't think they're going to do it. I want to test them because I don't think they're going to shoot me.
Roger and everyone listening and watching, just wanted to mention, Yair is brave like this. During Corona, there was court proceedings. A court decision was expected to admit the digital vaccination ID. And on this day, Yair put on his lawyer, he's a lawyer, by the way, his lawyer clothes and fixed a David star. And this is the way how he visited their courtroom and how he protested against this decision. So he is brave like this. But as I said, I also think that one of the purposes behind this conflict to make this kind of negotiation, this kind of togetherness impossible, because too many losses, too many quiet human need for revenge, So this is perhaps also a very important purpose behind this conflict, that the people like yourself, just people who are not the state, the people who should be the state but are not, that these people cannot communicate any longer.
Yeah.
I have also a question to you. I'm interested because a lot of people saying, yeah, Jews are powerful, they're leading the world, and they're all over the media. I'm interested. What is your opinion about this?
This is an interesting question. I think there's a double-edged sword in this. Okay, what I mean is that there are a few reasons why this happens. The first one is that, like we saw during COVID, okay, the Jews are being placed purposefully at the front of these operations, Okay, so we have these people that are controlling everything. And for many, like I said, this is generational. For many generations, we know that what they're doing is they're creating crime and blaming the Jews for it. Okay, I'll give you an example. We all heard the blood libels from the Middle Ages about the Jews drinking blood of children for their holiday, for Pesach, supposedly. Now, obviously, for any normal Jew, you think, oh, these crazy anti-Semitic people, they were imagining and making up this crazy stuff. But today, when I know what's really happening with these satanic cults, I'm thinking it could be that actually someone did do this. Some crazy pagan people who still worship demons may have done this. But this has nothing to do with Jews. They were blaming the Jews. They could have been wearing all of the Jewish stuff to make it very simple to think it's the Jews, but these were these cults, okay? And the same thing could be happening today. They are using the pretense of Jews, sometimes maybe even taking real Jews, but that have no idea what's going on, and putting them in the front lines, like, for example, the CEO of Pfizer. You know, maybe he's part of them, but maybe he's just a simple-minded person who only cares about money and these sort of things. And they put him in as the CEO of the company while they're making this shot, so that it's very easy to think, oh, here you see it's a Jew, so it's the Jews involved. But look at who are the owners? Who are the families that are controlling BlackRock and Vanguard? Are they all Jewish families? No, they're not. They're all from the European royalty of generations, okay? And some Jews also, because there's people from everywhere in these groups, okay? People joined from all of the nations. So this isn't about the Jews. This is about Jews being placed in places. So this is one reason. They want to blame the Jews, so they put them in the front. The second reason is that they're using their talent. Okay, it could be that these people are talented and they are doing a good job at what they're doing. So they're telling them, here, you do the job for us, and we benefit from you twice, because we also benefit from your talent, and we also can blame you when people understand what's actually going on and what we've done. So it's a twofold situation. And this is my opinion about it. To think that the Jews control everything, there's people definitely who control a lot of things, but they're not just Jews. And the ones that are supposedly Jews, as far as I'm concerned, are not really Jews.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, Masha?
It does feel, yeah, also to me actually, it does feel that Jews are overrepresented, measured to the fact that Jews are altogether 0.2% of the world population. They do seem to be overrepresented in leading positions like bank, media, companies like Pfizer, for example. There are many indeed. So I can imagine there is a purpose behind it, because what we are practicing right now is kind of misuse or weaponizing of the Holocaust legacy to create kind of compensation, like we compensate the Jews for what happened back then by excusing anything they themselves are doing right now. I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think these are the right proceedings. There must not be a compensation of this kind. So what I see is a never-ending story of victimizing Jews, as you said, and then refunding them for the suffer, and then victimizing them over again. And from my point of view, we are right now in the middle of the new victimizing, because saying on the one hand, by law, you are not allowed to criticize state Israel, really? And on the other hand, demonstrating all the cruelty and putting Jews into the leading position. This creates real anti-Semitism. I have not experienced anti-Semitism living in Germany, I have to admit. But right now, they're creating a real, genuine anti-Semitism to victimize Jews again and then to refund them for the suffer. So it must stop from my point of view. And I think it must not matter what ethnicity a person has. Because indeed, no one wonder about, say, Bill Gates. Who is he? Is he Irish? Is he maybe French by birth? I do not really know, and nobody cares. But everybody cares if a personality of the same or comparable presence as Bill Gates is Jew. It must not matter, don't you think?
Yes, absolutely, of course.
My question, that means it could be that in early stage with the Holocaust, Jews are victims for sure, and now you can put these people in a position they are very powerful sometimes, but also protected. You cannot say one word against them, then you have a problem. Could be this possibility?
Jose, can you explain it again? What's the possibility?
Yeah, maybe Masha, have you understand what? Because my English is not so good. I mean, because the Jews has been victims in the war, in the second war, in the Holocaust, and now if you are in a very powerful position as Jews, you are kind of protected because of this story behind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I have to say, I think part of the propaganda is to make the Jews so powerful, okay? And the state of Israel, so powerful. I don't believe this. I don't believe this. I think this is part of the front they're putting on. We're a small nation. We get the support from the US because they have all kinds of interest in here. I don't trust the US, like I said, because I don't trust the CIA, and I don't trust all these organizations within them. And I think they are creating a lot of problems for us. And they're showing as if they're supporting, and we protect Israel, but actually they're manipulating us. And it could be that October 7 was involving all kinds of people from the States. There were stories, I want to tell you. I don't think these things come to the media. After October 7, in the alternative media, in the social media, there were stories. One family that spoke about, when all the terrorists were going around from house to house killing people, one family said that people came into their house politely, nicely, didn't try to kill them, sat in the kitchen, drank and ate, spoke English, and then left the house. Okay, not the Arabic accent English. So we have all kinds of weird things happening. We have American bases in Israel. We are not an independent country. To say that the Jews are powerful, the Jews are not even independent yet. We are still being oppressed. So how can you say that we're so powerful? Okay. So this is part of the propaganda. This is what I'm trying to say. The people are still not free. So you cannot judge the people according to what's going on because they are still being controlled.
I see. Maybe I can just show a post. I'm looking for Israel. Now Netanyahu sit down with U.S. Defense Secretary headset, and also the work Israel signed an agreement with the U.S. to cooperate in AI. So it's, as you said before, there's a cooperation, and U.S. is not just human being friendly. There's a purpose. Why are they doing this? And I agree. And we have really to be careful. And as you said before, the people want peace and not war. And it's only a few people all over the world they organize this, I guess. And we have to see this and what they want, that we have more hate, that we have more war, that more deaths, and that's never stopping, because the industry of war, it's really a big deal. And if you have more war, you get more money. And this is one of the deal, I guess.
Yes. So I just want to mention about this. Sorry, Masha, just one last thing. It's important to me. Like I said before, that before the establishment of the state, the British, which I want to remind everyone's looking at America today, the British Empire was the biggest empire in history, okay? Bigger than the Roman Empire. And it only finished 100 years ago. That's not a long time. That's also something people forget. They think 100 years is a long time. It's not a long time. And just before the state of Israel was established, the British were here, and the British were steering everything. Okay, they were in connection with the Arabs, they were in connection with the Jews, They told the Jews, always support your state. They told the Arabs, as soon as we go, you're going to fight them. They were giving these people weapons. They were giving these people weapons. Okay? The state of war here was being orchestrated from the beginning by the big powers of this world that have been dominating it for a very long time. And let me give you a hint, it's not the Jews. Maybe they have some Jews working for them, but it's not the Jews.
Okay. Masha, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, actually, two things. Regarding the same topic, actually, this is something which we omitted entirely. I mean, even in the bubble, in the opposition, or especially in the opposition, we omitted entirely the fact of this influence from outside. And I would like to mention, I don't know what's going on now. I couldn't verify it, but I know that several years ago, I did verify the fact that the German government paid the so-called, I cannot translate it, Hinterbliebenen Renten, meaning pension to the families of jihadists. So they actually supported this suicidal jihadism. If a family lost their kid in Israel, for example, in a school bus, things like this happened, I would like to mention, then this family was receiving pension from Germany. And this is something we should be aware of as well. And then back to the emotions, I do not have an answer, how to deal with it. But what I know, that our emotional response does prolong this war in a way. So the way how they are, as I mentioned already today, the way how their so-called facts are proceeded have the purpose to manipulate us emotionally. And if we allow to manipulate us emotionally, those really pulling the straps feel like, well, we succeeded, it works, let's do more of it, let's provide more of these horrors. You see? So this is a really difficult situation, but we must be aware that the most of it is a psyop. And we are being fed portions of information which we are supposed to receive. So, and what I see, that some data are just forwarded along of the social networks, even without being verified, even if the data are fake. And at this point, I would like to mention the post about 14,000 Gazawa babies who were supposed to die within 4 weeks if the Israelis don't give them the needed humanitarian support. And the guy by the UN, from the UN, who claimed this, he excused himself later. But the one message went viral and his excuses did not. So I just would like to invite everybody to really thoroughly question, because we otherwise are supporting the emotional manipulation, are the first victims of those.
Yeah, thank you very much for this statement. I guess it's very important that we are aware that's a lot of fake of both sides. I've also seen videos in Gaza preparing kids for being injured, and then they have taken videos and pictures. For sure, that's a lot of bad things happening, but also this stage stuff is happening. We have to be sure that, because it's so emotional, as soon kids are involved, our brain is switched off, because we cannot think anymore, and this is kind of normal. But this is so important. Please try to look twice what's happening there. And there's also a lot of stories going around. This is also the next one I want to show you. I don't know if it's true or not. Israel planned, how you say it in English, lager?
Huge a huge camp for
Camp.
600,000 Palestinians.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a
Israel
very,
is planning to organize a huge camp for 600,000 Palestinians.
have you heard something about this? Yeah?
Yes, actually, we heard, and there's also from the people that are awake, like I say, we call it awake in Israel. We know that we're being lied to. There's a theory that's going around that basically this whole war, part of the reason it was orchestrated, was because of these big plans of the people who control the different industries to reshape Gaza, okay, maybe as a model for reshaping many other places. So they needed to destroy and demolish a lot of the houses. So big war, take everyone out the houses, demolish everything. Now we have a good reason to rebuild everything how we want to build it, because we want to help the poor Gazans. And there's a plan to create this new city for them and whatever, all of these new agendas. Now you can bring them all to Gaza, and it will be a way to help them. So I don't believe in all of this. I want the Gaza people to have normal lives, how they choose to live, not people from outside coming and telling them, here, we build a city for you, we build a camp for you, all this bullshit. Let them control themselves. You want to give them money or funds, give them funds. But let them decide how to live their lives, aside from war. Don't just give them money to shoot. Give them money to build, and let them build how they want to build. And sorry, yeah.
Yair, let me ask about very specific information. We can read that Israelis allegedly shoot people which meet at the points of distribution of humanitarian goods like food and clothes and the like, that the Israeli snipers waiting for them to shoot them while they try to get the humanitarian help. What about this information?
Look,
I can't imagine.
To me, this sounds insane, yeah, because the people that are in the army, a lot of them are people that we know, yeah, they go to the army, people who still believe in the bullshit of the state, but still, these are people we know. The army is made mostly of the common Israeli, the average Israeli. They think that they need to be there. They think they need to protect their country, but they're not going to be shooting innocent civilians while they're getting food. But what can happen is that they're being told by the commanders that this guy or that guy is a terrorist, a Hamas, that a minute ago he shot his friend. You have to remember these people are dying too. People think soldiers is so different from civilians. When you live in a country like Israel, that half the population goes to the army, it's not such a clear separation. These are our children, these are our cousins, these are our friends dying as soldiers, okay? And they're dying all the time. Every few days we get new pictures of, again, emotional manipulation, but also truth of these people dying, young people, everyone's sad for them, people with babies, fathers, families that are become without their parents. And these people, they're also dying, and people are upset about this, and people are saying, look, we need to stop our soldiers from dying. And if there's some terrorist that's pretending to be giving away food now, but we know that he shot a soldier a second ago and we have an opportunity, then shoot them. I'm guessing this is maybe something that happens. I don't think they're going to shoot generally at civilians to keep them away from food. It doesn't make sense to me. But even maybe this happens. I'm not in Gaza. I don't know what orders they're getting. I don't know what their commanders are telling them. But then obviously in these situations, they also need to refuse an order.
What?
If it's clearly civilians. But I'm not even sure that these things are true. There are many stories coming out,
What about if these people, only a few, are installed just to do this action, to have this story?
Also, definitely an option. Absolutely.
What about this story? I heard that kids from Gaza, they have no kindergarten. They go to the special school to train with weapons. It's just, I see videos. Do you know something about this?
I don't know anymore from you. I know from media stuff that I reached that for many years now we know that Hamas is training from the really young age of kindergarten, training kids to think that weapons is good and we're going to grow up and shoot Jews and this is how we want to live. And, there is a lot of this jihadist propaganda by Hamas. For many years in Israel, we know this. I don't know how much this is being spread in Europe, but this is part of the reason why Israelis are so easy to manipulate, because they're being, they see these things happening. They see these children growing up on hate, and then they see October 7th. So they come at some point to a conclusion, we don't have a choice. No one wants to shoot so many people, but if you think you don't have a choice, then this is what war creates. The problem is that someone managed to bring us to this point from the beginning. Someone managed to organize this war from the beginning and create all this death. And then it's just a cycle. There's death on one side, and then then if we have death on our side, it's okay to do death on that side. It's a cycle of death.
That would be quite easy to make such a video from kids having weapons in their hand, even it's just for one time, spreading all over the world, and then you have the story.
Yeah. May I ask something? Yeah. There are two young people who survived in this discotheque. I forgot the name. Close to the point where their Hamas broke through their fence. There was a huge discotheque.
Oh, a huge party, a nature party. Yeah.
Pardon?
Yeah, a huge party. Yeah.
Yeah,
in the fields, not in the discotheque. Yeah.
And two kids who survived, they actually started traveling around the world and telling the story. I tried to invite them to talk to us as well. I didn't manage so far, but what they said was shocking to me. I wanted again to verify with you. They said that it was for them a horrible realization that following the Hamas fighters, civilians from Gaza ran in and murdered the civilians. So this is what I mean, this poisoned attitude, poisoned relationship to each other. So do you really believe that it's still possible to communicate in a peaceful way? And it doesn't matter what we discuss. We imagine Gaza either living life decided by someone else what life it should be, or they live their own life, but we are still talking about Gaza, about this separate stripe of land. I'm quite honest, I do not believe that the so-called two-state solution is ever doable.
Mm-hmm.
So they cannot go on like this, even if the war is over, which is not going to be, because war is profit, war is divided, and So, but even then, it can be go on like this tiny piece of land with 2+ million people having tons of kids, the population growing steadily. So what is the solution? I, from my point of view, even if I repeat, don't believe that two states can coexist, not because the people are bad, but because this country, this relationship is being poisoned for ages. You cannot just redo it, not within a really short time. So what is your vision? What is your opinion?
So I can tell you, first of all, that I think one of the main positive factors that can change all this poison is when people understand on both sides that they have been manipulated. This is a big and important thing to happen. And I think COVID is going to help this. Okay, the fact that so many people are starting to understand and you can't even hide it anymore, and proof is coming out. So when people understand that we are being manipulated on every front, and they're going to start understanding we're also being manipulated on the security and war industry front. And then maybe they can start saying, well, you know what? Maybe everything I thought about Jews was being manipulated for an eternal war that my children are paying for. And then Israelis can think the same thing. So this is something that can open a bit of a hatch of hope after all this poison. But I want to say that for me, I've been to Hebron. Okay, Hebron is the biggest Palestinian city. and it's the resting place of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, and this is where their tomb lies, also with the mothers, of course, with Sarah and Rebecca and Rachel and Leah. And Leah. Rachel is somewhere else. So basically, this is a place that's very, very holy, both for Muslims and both for Jews. And I want to tell you that after I visited there, even though obviously the army is there and they, without them, all these Jews wouldn't be able to pray there. But still, I saw something there which I thought was the biggest symbol of peace that I've seen in Israel, much more than in Jerusalem. Because in Jerusalem, there's a lot of tension around the Temple Mount, and there's always fighting. In Hebron, something beautiful happens. You know what happens in Hebron? I didn't know this before, and I don't think a lot of people know. In Hebron, in the place where the tombs are, where everyone goes to pray, also the Muslims pray there, also the Jews pray there. But how do they do it? About half of the place is the Muslim area, half of the place is the Jewish area, and there's no movement between them. Okay, most of the time, 90% of the time, there's no movement. They pray here, they pray here. They come in from the top, they come in from the bottom. But there are 10 days a year where something beautiful happens. 10 days a year, the Muslims get to choose 10 days which are most important to them. The Jews get to choose 10 days that are most important to them. And on these 10 days, the other side vacates the whole area, also the side where they usually go to. They don't come in at all. And then, say, for example, in a holy day for Muslims, the Jews go out of it for the whole time, and the Muslims have the whole area, even though half of the area of the Jewish people, is full of Jewish stuff, full of Jewish books, full of Jewish everything. They put it aside carefully, they take care of it, they don't hurt it, and they pray in the whole area for that special day. And the same happens the other way around. And I went there on last Yom Kippur. When it was open, the whole place was open for Jews. So I also went to the area where the Muslims pray. And I saw all of their Muslim stuff being put aside very nicely. And we were praying there next to those things where they usually pray for that special day. And afterwards, when this finished, everyone go back to the regular arrangement. So the fact that they can get to this arrangement, even if there are many people there who hate the Jews and many people who hate the Arabs, but they are able to do this. They are able to live next to each other peacefully and even be considerate of each other for their holy day of the other one. If this is possible, this gives me hope. And I recently heard of an offer for peace from a sheikh, from an Arab Muslim sheikh in Hebron. And that made me feel okay, because I know that Hebron is a place where peace can start, especially because it's the resting place of Abraham, which is the father of both nations. So I heard a sheikh from Hebron saying that he wants to set up an emirate in Hebron. Not part of this whole big idea of Palestinian state. This is all relatively new in Arab Muslim history, this idea of Palestinian nation, and generally of these modern type nations. The Arabs live very differently for many, many centuries. And he's saying, we want to live how we used to live. We want to live in an emirate. We want to live based on the tribes and the families. And we want to have independence. And we're not against the Israelis and not against the Jews. So this is something that I feel like could be going back to the roots, going back to the opportunity to have peace through how people in the Middle East are used to living, not how people in the West want us to live. Okay, so this is something to bring.
You have a microphone, Masha. Masha,
Masha, we can't hear you.
Masha,
you're on mute.
You're on mute. Yes.
Excuse me, I forgot I was mute. I was saying this is a theoretical approach, but we have power of facts, and the facts look very differently. So my question is still, I do not see Israel coexisting peacefully with Gaza. I do not see it like really acceptable, the Gaza people to exist like that in this tiny piece of land. So what is a practical solution, a really applicable solution, considering the situation how it is? with all of this hatred, with all of this thousands, millions of brainwashed people. This is a majority who is brainwashed. You do not belong to majority, Yair. We know this. We are the minority. The way how we see the things is not representative if we put it in percentage from the society. So the majority is brainwashed. The majority believe perhaps that Israel is now protecting the lives of their people, by this war. And they have to uproot the idea of hurting state Israel. This is about uprooting, isn't it? And considering this view, considering this situation, what's going to happen? Let's assume, hypothetically, this war is over. What next?
Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to say that I don't have time left. I'm going to go, so I'm going to have a final word.
Okay.
And I want to first of all thank you, Roger, and thank you, Masha, for connecting me. And I want to say, look, after I said what I said about Hebron, your first words were, "This is theoretical. Let's be practical." But as you see, I'm a man of faith, and I'm not limited by what we see right now. Okay, there are more things that are possible than what we see right now. And like I said, it's not even just theoretical, because I think that the COVID is key to starting to come out of all this brainwashing. So if we all over the world put energy into breaking the brainwashing, this could be key to starting change also here. And here we have more things to work with, because we also have a lot of spiritual power here and a lot of people with belief and faith in the spirit, which will give us power to do things, even if the facts don't look like it can happen. It could happen. And there's things that show us that it's possible. And like I said, what's happening in Hebron and all these new offers, and with COVID coming into light, anything can happen. When people understand that they've been lied to for many, many years about many, many things, everything can change. So this is my optimistic approach, and I'm going to have to finish. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time, and keep in
Thank
touch.
you, Yair.
And talk to you soon.
It was
Yes.
good to see you again.
You too, Masha. Nice to meet you, Roger.
Let's meet soon again.
Bye bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
All the best for you. Bye.
So, ich denke, wir können Deutsch weitermachen, Mascha.
Ja, klar.
Können die vielleicht Englisch nicht so mächtig sind. Mein Englisch ist ja auch nicht so gut, aber ich hoffe, es war verständlich.
Es war super. Ich weiß nicht, was du hast, um ehrlich zu sein.
Ja, ich struggle immer ein bisschen, aber es geht. Vielleicht können wir uns noch kurz unterhalten, wir müssen nachher auch weiter zum nächsten Termin, aber ich denke, es war mal wichtig, aus der Sicht eines Menschen, der in Israel wohnt, seine Stimme zu hören. Ich finde auch, dass wir wichtig zusammengefasst haben, dass es geht vor allem um Propaganda. Nicht alles, was wir sehen, stimmt. Natürlich, das hast du auch gesagt, gibt es da sehr viel Leid, gibt es sehr viel Tote. Der Krieg ist da, aber es ist und bleibt sehr viel Propaganda. Und ich verstehe beide Seiten. Du sagst, können wir es schaffen, wenn so viele brainwashed people, also Menschen, so manipuliert sind, dass sie sich wieder zueinander finden. Er sagt ja, du zweifelst, ich kann beide Seiten verstehen. Ich hoffe natürlich, dass wir es hinkriegen, aber natürlich schon so, wenn du Jahrzehnte immer hörst, die andere Seite ist schlecht, die andere Seite ist böse, die andere Seite ist evil, die müssen weg, die haben, weißt du? Dann bin ich schon eher auf deiner Seite, wie können wir das hinkriegen, weil wir haben ja im kleineren Ausmaß, zum Beispiel Deutschland, Österreich und Schweiz ist ja, zum Beispiel hat sie auch gesagt, mit Covid haben wir es noch nicht geschafft. Ich hoffe, es kommt noch. Und da in Gazastreifen ist es noch viel krasser. Da geht es ja, also es ist wirklich Leben oder Sterben. Die wollen sich umbringen zum Teil. Da frage ich mich eben auch, wie sollen wir damit umgehen? Aber vielleicht ist wirklich dranbleiben, Aufklärung und dass es wirklich bei den Menschen mal Klick macht, dass die Menschen merken, hey, es geht nicht um den Hass von Mensch zu Mensch, sondern die da oben haben das entsprechend installiert, dass wir uns hassen. Und ich glaube, das wäre wahrscheinlich der Schlüssel.
Weißt du, um Israelis zu verstehen oder um die Gazauer zu verstehen, müssen wir doch lediglich uns selbst verstehen. Es ist ja nicht anders in Deutschland, es ist nicht anders irgendwo auf der Welt. Was ich meine ist, dass jede Winzigkeit, die benutzt werden kann, um Menschen aufeinander zu hetzen, wird benutzt. Und in Israel ist natürlich ein ganz anderes Potenzial für diesen Zweck. Dort kann man einen echten Krieg entfachen.
Mhm.
Aber in den europäischen Ländern beispielsweise oder überall in der Welt, lass mich mal bei 9/11 starten. Wofür war dieses Ereignis gut? Um die Araber ein für alle Male als schreckliche Menschen abzustempeln. Es ist ja nichts anderes als das, was in Israel geschieht. Das heißt, es erfolgte eine Stigmatisierung eines ganzen Volkes. Man schaut schon ganz komisch, wenn jemand arabisch aussieht. Dann hat man natürlich durch diese sogenannte Einwanderung, was im Grunde genommen eine organisierte Überflutung gerade durch diejenigen war, die alle diese Stereotypen erfüllen. Nicht alle, aber viele von ihnen erfüllen genau die Stereotypen, die uns ja so viel Angst machen.
Mhm.
Ja? Und schon ist dieser Eindruck gefestigt. Das heißt, wir alle lassen uns doch manipulieren. Wir
Absolut.
alle lassen uns manipulieren. Und in Israel funktioniert das viel besser, weil dieser Staat aus dem Krieg entstanden und seitdem im Krieg ist. So, das heißt, letztendlich, es geht einfach nur darum, dass jeder einzelne von uns, jeder, wirklich, du, ich, jeder, der jetzt zuschaut, Menschen da draußen, einfach einen ganz simplen Satz sagen und auch leben. Ich bin nicht einverstanden. Ich bin nicht einverstanden. Ich will das nicht. Und das auch mal leben. Ich sage nur, man stelle sich vor, was wäre passiert, wenn Menschen mehrheitlich gesagt hätten, ich bin nicht einverstanden, ich trage keine Maske. Es hätte doch keine Pandemie gegeben. Wenn die Gastronomen gesagt hätten, nein, ich schließe nicht, dann hätte es doch keine Pandemie gegeben. Wäre nicht so weit gekommen, dass wir jetzt Impfpflicht diskutieren.
Ja,
für die ganze Bevölkerung und so weiter. Das heißt, es ist bei jedem von uns, es gibt einen wunderbaren Satz, ich bin die Veränderung.
Also
und das ist in Israel und in Deutschland gleiche Maße aus meiner Sicht gültig.
Es gibt ja auch diesen einfachen Satz, der mit N anfängt und mit N aufhört. Das ist ein vollständiger Satz, das heißt Nein. Und das ist das, was wir uns auch wieder mal sagen dürfen, einfach Nein zu sagen.
Ja.
Und ich glaube, es war jetzt auch einfach ein wichtiges Gespräch, mal das zu hören, wie es jemand aus Israel sieht. Und das bestätigt mir, dass das Ganze einfach, also das mit Oktober, der 7. Oktober habe ich schon auch so mitbekommen, aber wenn man das natürlich von einem hört, der dort lebt, ist es schon nochmal eindrücklicher, dass er sagt ganz klar, das ist gestaged, das ist geplant, dass man genau das machen kann. Ich habe ihn noch fragen wollen, aber das vielleicht ein anderes Mal. Es gibt ja anscheinend auch die These, dass im Gaza sehr viele Bodenschätze sein sollen. Und Bodenschätze war ja immer ein Grund oder meistens ein Grund des Krieges. Das haben wir in diversen früheren Geschichten gesehen. Und das könnte auch hier ein Punkt sein, dass man versucht, die auf eine Seite zu treiben und dann die Bodenschätze entsprechend zu kassieren. Ich kann es natürlich nicht bestätigen, aber es würde mich nicht wundern. Es ist immer das Gleiche. Follow the money. Und mit Frieden kannst du kein Geld verdienen in der Kriegsindustrie. Und die Kriegsindustrie ist ja extrem rentabel und das ist einfach ein Geschäftsmodell. Und das können wir normale, denkende Menschen mit einer Empathie nicht vorstellen, dass es Menschen gibt, die sagen, es ist mir scheißegal, ob da Menschen ums Leben kommen, ich will Kohle. So stelle ich mir das vor.
Ja, und ich denke, es ist ganz wichtig für jeden Einzelnen von uns zu erkennen, dass es jederzeit anwendbar und jederzeit gültig, was sie machen seit Jahrtausenden. Das ist das, was mich so frustriert, dass im Grunde genommen seit Jahrtausenden das Gleiche passiert. Man hat damals die Hexen verbrannt und alle haben gesagt, ich möchte nicht als Hexe behandelt werden. man hat jetzt die Ungeimpften verbrannt und die Mehrheit hat gesagt, oh, ich möchte mit den Ungeimpften nichts zu tun haben, so geht es mir genauso. Es ändert sich doch nicht an dem Gebaren und an den Methoden auch nicht. Und weil sie immer wieder tun, diese 3 Schritte, ein Problem schaffen, die Reaktion kontrollieren und dann das geschaffene Problem so lösen, wie man eigentlich von Anfang an, wofür man von Anfang an dieses Problem eigentlich geschaffen hat. Also Problem schaffen, Reaktion kontrollieren, eine Lösung für das Problem anbieten. Da fallen die 2 Türme plus Turm 7 und schon ist die Überwachung absolut erforderlich. Dabei wollten sie schon immer uns überwachen.
Ja.
Nur als Beispiel, sie schaffen ein Problem, sie kontrollieren Reaktion, diese Angst, dass es wieder passiert und schon akzeptieren Menschen mit Handkuss, dass sie kaum noch private Sphäre haben. Und man sollte tatsächlich diesen Satz Nein sagen. Ich möchte vielleicht etwas aus meinen neuesten Erfahrungen berichten, was, glaube ich, doch optimistisch ist. 2 Dinge. Mir würde mein Web.de-Account gesperrt. Und dann sagte man, ich muss mich komplett identifizieren, damit mir dieser Account auch entsperrt wird. Und man forderte mich tatsächlich auf, das gesamte Auto-Indent-Verfahren durchzulaufen. Das ist das, was wir tun, um die SIM-Karte zu aktivieren. Das ist ein Frontalangriff auf die Datenschutzverordnungen. Ja. Und ich habe gesagt, nein, das tue ich nicht. Ich habe den Datenschutzbeauftragten kontaktiert und er hat gesagt, ich habe recht, das dürfen Sie nicht. Aber die Mehrheit sagt, okay, wenn Sie das wollen, warum? Ich habe nichts zu verbergen. Und die andere Situation ist noch viel, viel, viel wichtiger. Wer fliegt, wer reist, weiß, dass es an den Flughafen sehr schnell mit der Digitalisierung voranschreitet. Es gibt überall die automatischen Scans, wo man den Pass auflegt und eben durch die Kontrolle geht. Aber dabei erfolgt auch eine Gesichtserkennung. Und diese Gesichtserkennung und diese Digitalisierung dienen doch nur einem Zweck. Digitale ID.
Absolut.
Die, wie der Zufall so will, gleichzeitig mit den internationalen Gesundheitsvorschriften in Kraft treffen sollte. Also wollen sie versuchen einzuführen. Gleichzeitig wollen sie auch mit dem digitalen Euro versuchen. Ja? Und Menschen machen mal einfach mit. Was ich jetzt gemacht habe an 2 verschiedenen Flughäfen. Ich habe sehr laut, damit auch andere Passagiere hören, gesagt, I do not consent to the face recognition. I do not consent. Und ich wurde jedes Mal durchgewunken zu einem der wenigen verbleibenden diese Kioske, den ich das mal, wo ein Grenzbeamter meinen Pass kontrolliert hat. Das dürfen sie nicht. Was uns angetan wird, darf nichts ohne unser informiertes Einverständnis erfolgen. Also eigentlich kenne ich mal eine Ausnahme. Elektronische Patientenakte, diese gräusliche Know Your Client, KYC, was Airbnb fordert und so weiter. Das ist Datenbefragung, das dürfen sie nicht. Und wenn man sich dagegen anlehnt, sogar als einzelne Person, funktioniert es. Das ist meine ganz persönliche Erfahrung. Und dann lade ich alle einfach dazu ein, Nein zu sagen. Das ist ein ganz wunderbarer Satz, Roger, in der Tat. Und wir haben viel mehr Rechte als wir an, und die muss man halt kennen.
Ja, ist, glaube ich, ein gutes Schlusswort, wo man einfach sagt, Nein zu sagen. Und viele sind halt, soll ich sagen, ist halt Bequemlichkeit ein Thema und sage, ich habe jetzt keinen Bock, mit denen eine halbe Stunde zu reden. Ich möchte jetzt einfach in meine Ferien, ich möchte meine Ruhe haben. Und dann geht man diesen Weg, anstatt zu überlegen, nein, ich will das nicht. Und ich finde das toll, dass du das gemacht hast. Kann man sicher mal wirklich auch für andere überlegen, das durchzusetzen. Vielleicht noch kurz ein Wort, das wollte ich ihn auch noch fragen. Netanyahu ist ja, wenn ich richtig informiert bin, eigentlich verurteilt. Und Amerika und treffen sich jetzt und da habe ich halt auch schon meine Fragen, wieso haben die so eine enge Beziehung? Und es wäre mich auch interessant gewesen, wie sieht dann der israelische Einwohner, der Durchschnittsbürger, der Präsidenten? Darf man überhaupt was sagen? Kommt man dann direkt in den Knast? Weil es sind auch viele, die auf der Straße waren gegen ihn. Ist denn das noch eine Demokratie oder ist das auch nur so eine Scheindemokratie?
Also was ich höre, dass etwa 72% der Israelis gegen Netanyahu sind, dass sie auch auf die Straße gehen jede Woche. Das ist eine ganz, ganz große Bewegung. Es sind viele Menschen auf der Straße, was wir hier in den Medien natürlich nicht mitbekommen, auch nicht im Widerstand. In den Widerstandsmedien wissen wir was davon. Letztendlich ist ganz, ganz wichtig zu verstehen, Juden sind nicht zwingend Israel und Israel ist nicht unbedingt Juden. Das eine hat mit dem anderen nichts zu tun. Aber ansonsten denke ich mal, wenn du Yair nochmal sprechen möchtest, wird er sicherlich sehr gern deine Einladung wieder annehmen.
Okay. Mascha, vielen Dank, dass du das organisiert hast, dass du das entsprechend möglich gemacht hast. Ich denke, es ist wichtig, dass wir auch darüber reden können. Ich bin immer am liebsten an der Quelle und ja, ein toller Mensch, der sich einsetzt, und ich hoffe immer noch, dass er diesen Weg nicht geht, weil ich befürchte, dass sie ihn nicht am Leben lassen. Das geht denen am Arsch vorbei und würden ihn umbringen. Das wäre sehr, sehr schade.
Das wünschte ich auch, ja.
Und da hoffen wir mal, dass es vielleicht andere Möglichkeiten gibt, da in den Frieden zu kommen, und sind wir zuversichtlich. Und vielleicht gibt es diesen Moment, wo Menschen aufwachen und merken, wir sind manipuliert worden, und zwar alle. Und uns ist gegenseitig ausgespielt worden, und deshalb ist dieser Hass entstanden, der ja eigentlich im Herzen gar nicht da wäre, wenn man das alles weglässt. Das ist, glaube ich, die wichtigste Botschaft, dass ich behaupte, jeder normal denkende Mensch will keinen Krieg, der will Frieden. Und da müssen wir hin. Stell dir mal vor, vielleicht das noch als Schlusssatz, es gibt nur noch Frieden auf der Erde. Wie viel Billionen von Dollars oder Euro oder Schweizer Franken zur Verfügung stehen würden, für den ganzen Hunger zu stillen, für die Probleme, die wir haben mit Umwelt, mit Plastik, keine Ahnung, mit Erfindungen, vielleicht auch freie Energie und so weiter. Wir würden alle Menschen auf dem ganzen Planeten würden im Wohlstand leben, und genau das wollen sie nicht, weil dann würden sie die Kontrolle verlieren. Das ist so meine These am Schluss.
Und alles mit uns, und das alles tun sie mit unser Einverständnis, auf die eine oder andere Art und Weise.
Ja.
Entweder indem wir aktiv mitmachen oder einfach nichts machen.
Ja. Mascha, vielen Dank für alles, was du machst. Wir bleiben in Kontakt und wünsche dir einen ganz, ganz schönen Tag.
Danke auch, Roger, und schönen Tag an alle. Bye-bye.
Bis dann. Ciao, ciao.
Ja, ciao.
Ja, ich kann aber nur sagen, ich bin froh, dass man so Gespräche führen kann. Ich hoffe, ihr konntet einigermaßen folgen, auch mit meinem speziellen Englisch. Aber wichtig war, dass Mascha und der Herr aus Israel verstanden konnte. Das sind halt so Gespräche, bin ich halt sehr neugierig. Man weiß natürlich auch nicht, was da kommt, aber es ist auch gut, dass wir so Informationen haben und ja, sich bewusst werden, dass wir durch die Angst, die geschürt wird, manipuliert werden, und zwar wahrscheinlich jeder von uns, dass wahrscheinlich niemand davon gefeilt, und da versuchen, aus der Emotion rauszukommen. Ich sage nur Stichwort Brutkastenlüge. Es gibt verschiedene Psyops auf der ganzen Welt, und immer wieder, dass man die erkennt und dann trotzdem versucht, sachlich zu bleiben. Das ist eine riesige Herausforderung. Ich habe es heute mal gesagt, sobald es um Kinder geht, ist es extrem schwierig. Da hat man irgendwo oben einen Schalter und dann glaubt man fast alles. Und das ist halt eben das, was sie auch zum Teil ausnutzen, weil der normale Bürger nebenan kann das nicht unterscheiden. Ist das jetzt vielleicht ein Video, das gar nicht echt ist und so weiter und so fort. Das haben wir alles auch schon besprochen. So, ich bedanke mich fürs Interesse, danke fürs Zuschauen. Heute Abend um 20 Uhr ein interessantes Interview mit Daniel Koch. Da bin ich sehr gespannt, wie das wird. Ich wünsche euch einen wunderschönen Tag und bis bald, und denkt daran, glaubt mir nichts, was ich sage, recherchiert selber und verbinde die Punkte. Bis dann. Tschüss zusammen. Bye bye.